Hello ladies and gentlemen, Rosie here, and I play Dead by Daylight, so you don't have to. Sorry there was no stream this weekend. There'll possibly be one tonight or tomorrow, maybe. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I've been binging movies. It's been fun. I've seen Halloween Kills 3 times now. I'm actually very enjoying it. I know it's kind of a divisive movie, but I've kind of been enjoying it. But Otts decided to open his mouth. Now, Otts, I don't know how people keep listening to this guy. I really don't. Every once in a while, Otts will say something that just proves to you that he has no knowledge of the game, which is amazing because if you play it for 9 hours a day, you'd expect that people kind of know what they're talking about. And for the most part, his opinions are very just ignorable, but this is one you just can't ignore. This opinion is probably the worst opinion I've heard of the game the entire year in terms of balance. Nothing to do with MMR. Obviously, the anti-MMR is the worst opinion in the world for this game. But in terms of balance, this is probably the worst opinion that I've ever heard for this game, in all honesty. And it's in his awful new tier list, which is pretty bad, regardless of this placement. It's not the worst one I've ever seen, but it's also pretty bad. But one of the most awful things that I've ever seen is he put Freddy down there in the fucking D tier. Now, to say Freddy isn't like as good as everyone thought he was, that's one argument. Saying that, oh, Freddy was never S tier, that's one argument. No, he's throwing him in D, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think you understand the magnitude of what that means. We are comparing Freddy to Myers and Ghostface. And, oh, I'm sorry, Ghostface is a C tier in this video, my bad. We're comparing him to Ghostface and Trapper and Pig and Clown. Like, I don't know. And fucking Myers. Like, I don't know how you can even look at that. And even think, like, if you play this game for more than a second, I think you should be able to see why that's wrong. So, let's go into this whole thing and dissect it real fast, just to point out that he's wrong. Because you should be able to go through these creators and not just suck their cocks all the fucking time. This is probably like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was an inside joke and be like, oh, I bet I can convince my dumbass fans that Freddy's fucking D tier. Yeah, sure. You should be able to look at these guys as fucking people. And Otts is the one guy that no one wants to do that to, and I'm sure this is going to get mass disliked because Otts fanboys are fucking crazy. But let's proceed. What does this man have to say, bruh?
Still into him, so do not be discouraged from trying them out or any of the killers that come that come after him, because they're still fun and you can still do really well with them. Next up is the Nightmare, and he is a killer that has dropped so dramatically you almost have to wonder if I am wrong now or if I was wrong then. Still, the Cannibal.
Okay, so remember, Freddy was never S tier. Was he top 3? Maybe. Maybe Blight and Twins were better than him. But Freddy was better back then. He wasn't but he didn't fall so fucking far, dude. Like, what did he really lose? He lost 5 snares, which was a pretty big loss. But that's the biggest loss that he had. And then he lost his fucking win more add-ons that everybody bitched about. But there was one thing that he kept. Let's keep listening.
Be one of the weaker killers in the game. Almost everyone considered him to be bottom tier. Then he got a rework that made him very hard to stop. He had the ability to teleport. He could ignore Boris.
Had the ability to teleport. Excuse me. He has the ability to teleport. If that's going to be factored in, it's like, whoa, that's pretty good. Yeah, he has that.
Time he had add-ons to slow down the game that could...
The add-ons were useless. Those add-ons were pretty bad. The borrow time nerf was pretty significant. Borrow time and the snares were the 2 biggest nerfs. But the add-ons were useless.
Stack on top of perks to slow down the game. That would stack on top of other perks. It was quite the noob stomper and quite the strong killer, even at higher levels.
No, absolutely not. It was a noob stomper. That's all it ever was. If you played 4-man Swift as Freddy, you died. Just like you died as if you were everybody. It was a noob stomper. Okay? The only issue with Freddy is that 99% of the players in this game just happen to be noobs, especially with the ranking system, where you play against these noobs over and over again. So yeah, it was easy for Freddy to look really insane. And against those noobs, the win, maybe the win more was a little bit less. Okay? Like, it was a little less win more against fucking scrubs. Okay? And against pieces of shit that didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, the add-ons might have been a little bit obnoxious. But the fact that his early game, still kind of bad. Still kind of bad. His teleport had to charge. And he had no snares preset. Nothing like that means that the survivors had enough time, if they were good, to secure early game advantage. Okay? And if they secure early game advantage, nothing else fucking matters. If they secured early game advantage, his teleport was negated. If they secured early game advantage, he couldn't get enough time around the map to get the snares pre-placed. The add-ons didn't matter. The only thing he could really try to do was tunnel somebody out of the game, which, you know, because he did have his borrow time, but if he had DS, that was out. So basically, this character could easily be put in a situation where he was fucked. It was just slightly harder. So yeah, I guess that makes him fucking top 5. Maybe, but like... That's not doing much for me, dude. So yeah, he didn't fall very hard, okay? He didn't.
A lot has happened since then. His range of add-ons is now very pathetic.
His range of add-ons was always pathetic. His range of add-ons was always pathetic. He had the iridescent and the gen slowdown and the recovery. That's pretty fucking bad. Okay? And honestly, none of the other combinations actually were any good, because you kind of just had to run the specific combination. Oh, you should probably use the Eerie every fucking time, because that's good. And then you can slow down the early game with the Eerie and the, what was it, jump rope or the swing chains, like the purple one. But yeah, he had about 6 usable add-ons out of 20. That's pathetic. Okay? The problem is every killer's designed like that. So to have like 6 usable add-ons to every killer's range of add-ons is quite pathetic, to the point where Hag and Doctor, who have like 10 usable ones, that's considered a good kit. Okay? That's considered good because that 50% of their shit is workable. So 6, it was still pretty fucking pathetic, but like now he has like none. Okay? But the problem is that his base kit is still okay, and he still has the teleport. The teleport is why this character is good. And the teleport never got touched. The teleport didn't get touched beyond, I guess they're awake a little bit more now, though, so his add-ons are slightly worse. But the teleport, it negates the ability to have to be 115. Okay? You can go across the whole fucking map with the teleport. Okay? And if you stop, like, even one generator after one down, like, that can potentially save a 3-gen. That can potentially do a lot of things for you, if you can do that. Stop the generator, and then maybe, oh, God forbid, you stop another one. But you wouldn't have stopped either gen if you didn't have the teleport. And then you got the Tinkerer synergy, the barbecue chili synergy, the absolute Perk synergy. Okay? Freddy, well, the reasons why Freddy is good have little to do with his add-ons, but have to do with game synergy. He has game synergy. His power has a unique synergy with the game that brings him levels above a lot of the other characters in the game. Okay? I wonder if we're even going to discuss game synergy, or probably not.
He has an ultra rare add-on that makes everyone fall asleep automatically and makes them have a harder time waking up. This makes you teleport considerably quicker and allows you to use your power in chase a lot more. But other than this add-on, almost everything else is a pathetic pick. His add-on choices beyond this are really, really bad. He only has 5 snares now, so you cannot pre-place snares around the map. He only has 7 pallet. Wait, yeah, 7 pallets.
We're even discussing pallet Freddy, which is kind of a waste of a discussion, in all honesty. The snare nerf was pretty big, that you can't pre-place snares anymore, so it's easier to get something pre-dropped in your face. That's kind of a that's the biggest in chase nerf that Freddy got. Okay? But I would still argue that if you're good with this character, the thing that he was used to be able to do was spam the fucking things everywhere he was able to go. That's what he used to be able to do. I would argue that if you pick your spots and you're really smart and you can kind of manage the board effectively, you can still pre-place snares if you're good. If you can manage your resources effectively, maybe use your teleports and your Tinkerer perk to help manage the map, and do this shit, and you can still decide where to go. But for the fact that you, like, don't have to like manage your snares like a trapper, for instance, means you can still be pretty free with them. Okay? So like even if you're putting pressure on one guy, you know, keeping him off a gen, a bad one goes off with Tinkerer, so you can still kind of hard commit because Tinkerer is such a fucking good perk. Like, you can still manage the map correctly, and then if it's one you don't need, you can drop, chase, and teleport, which is, again, another character cannot do this. Like, there are so many ways that Freddy's power helps him shape the fucking board. It helps him shape the fucking map to the ways that he wants it. So if it's not just, oh, let me play snare after snare after snare anymore, you have to be fucking smart. But if you're fucking smart, you can still manage the board to a bad late game situation with your unrivaled map mobility with the teleport. Now again, the teleport has to be used efficiently and correctly, and if you fuck up, then you lose a lot of the map pressure. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's always been kind of high risk, high reward. But the fact that he has the potential to do plays like that, does Trickster have potential to do plays like that? No! Does Shitslinger have potential to do plays like that? No! Absolutely not. On the 1 versus 4 game, when you can really pick your moments, it's kind of high risk, high reward, so it's not like the best thing in the game. But like, but especially if you're kind of near the generator, then you can fake the teleport, get the guy off the gen anyway, and then have your teleport back. You have some fucking great 1 versus 4 here in your base kit that wasn't nerfed at all. Okay? So if you're not seeing how big of a part this 1 versus 4 aspect means, you're not even analyzing the character correctly.
As opposed to, I believe, 10 that he had before. He slows himself down while placing these, so you need to be a bit more mindful when placing the snares.
Well, he's right that you have to be a bit more mindful, but it's for all the wrong reasons. If you're spamming him in chase, if you're spamming the snares in chase still, you're not thinking at all about what you're doing. Like, where am I placing the snare at? Is this guy gonna just leave the tile once he sees I'm trying to place snares? Like, you know, like, what are you trying to do? Maybe you just put the snares to get the fucking pallet down, which is a fucking good thing you could try to be doing with this character now. Okay? You can use the snares to get the pallets down, which is something he could always do with them, and good survivors always kind of did. So that aspect of him's kind of unchanged. But it's the 1 versus 4 game. He's completely missing the point of why Freddy is good. Still.
And either way, you don't have any crazy tools anymore. Survivors that wake up from clocks now take 90 seconds to fall asleep. And during the first 30 seconds, they are protected, meaning that if you hit them, they will not fall asleep and you will not be able to use your power.
Your power is still the 1 versus 4. This is always why this character was good. The only thing that is relevant to why this character is good has nothing to do with, oh, like, I can't go get an easier second hit on this guy now. No, it's the teleport cooldown with your only good family of add-ons. Now, that's pretty much it. Okay, and if you're stacking those like I think you should be, because again, that early game is okay, but that early game Iridescent is okay, but like if you want the most benefit out of your add-ons throughout a match, you kind of have to be running those double stacked teleport cooldowns because you want access to your 1 versus 4 game. But we're still talking about this character from a very chase perspective. He's always been weak in that perspective. His anti-loop has always been worse than Clown's, if you want to go there, and it's especially worse than Clown's with Clown's new update. Because Clown's fucking underrated right now. Clown's not bottom 5 anymore, ladies and gentlemen. That's another problem I see with this tier list. But, again, when you analyze it from look, he doesn't have 10 snares anymore, bruh. He doesn't have 10 snares anymore. His add-ons are pretty fucking shit, aren't they? Yeah, they're pretty shit. They've always been shit. But he's had unrivaled base game synergy. That's why he's good. The Thrilling Tremors pop stuff that Jay likes to do. Great. Barbecue Chili, great. Tinkerer, great. Discordance, great. He's got so much synergy with the fucking perks in the game. Now again, he could have gave some shitty disclaimer, duh, I don't factor perks in, bro. I don't factor stuff like that in, bro. But he factors add-ons in, clearly. So I don't see why perks are so far-fetched to kind of throw out of a tier list. So, like, that's possible. I didn't watch this shitty fucking thing. But still, for you to say Freddy is D-tier shit is just incredible to me. Like, I don't know if you're even playing the character marginally correctly, if you're saying that. And it's not like he's fucking hard. He has some high risk, high reward. If you fuck up, you could potentially lose the game because your teleport's now on a huge cooldown. Like, he does have that. But, like, still, dude.
And his ability to teleport remains the one true power that Freddy has. The one true power that Freddy has is his ability to teleport and exert pressure through his perks across the map, no matter what decisions you make. So you choose a survivor to a corner of the map with other killers, that would be really bad. With Freddy, you hook them there, they now take a long time to get there, you teleport all the way across to the gen that you see with Tinkerer, with Rhythm Tremors, with Barbecue, whatever.
There you go. So we're acknowledging that, oh, Freddy does have some positives.
Or you use Ruin, or you use one of these really strong perks to slow down the game. And that's the real strength of Freddy. If you take these perks away, Freddy crumbles. He is really...
Yes, but you're not taking the perks away. You're not taking the perks away. Oh, Freddy's D tier without that shit. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Because every killer sucks without the perks, bro. The perks are artificial balance for the game. That's all the perks are. That's all the perks have ever been. Behavior decides to balance the game through perks. That's their fault. That's their fault. But, like, no one's taking the perks away except maybe you for your shitty fucking tier list. Okay? No one's doing that. And in order to place Freddy in the D tier, you have to do something better than that. Oh, take the perks away, he's bad. Oh, yeah. Yeah, how good's fucking Trapper without Corrupt Intervention? How good's any of these characters without Corrupt Intervention, bro? That's a great question. Like, seriously, dude. How good are half the killers on the roster without a slowdown perk? You know what I mean? How good are they? How good realistically are they? If you run Freddy with all slowdown and you're playing as Huntress with no slowdown, Freddy's definitely stronger than her because he has the slowdown meta and she doesn't. If you take the slowdown meta away from these low pressure 110 killers, what does that do to them? So it's like, oh, well, if you take the perks away, they crumble. Yeah, so does everyone else. That's not a good argument at all. At all.
Really bad. He doesn't have a power to use immediately at the start without his iridescent add-on. Because people are not asleep. You can play around his...
Yeah, and neither does, like... who else doesn't have a power at the start of the game? Let's see. You got Myers, who has worse than a power at the start of the game. Well, he's the worst character in the game, sure. Hag's power's pretty shit at the start of the game. I see her up there in S tier. Oni has no power at the start of the game. I see him in A tier. Like, you see all this shit here. It doesn't have a power at the start of the game. That clearly is not a recipe for D tier, as there are multiple characters that also don't have a power at the start of the game. Twins' power is pretty bad at the start of the game. They have, like, a gimmicky fucking way to get it fast down, but that's about it. Twins have a power when you're all injured. So, I mean, I guess technically they have a power, but, like, again, Twins are fucking S tier IMO. I think they're that damn good. Of course, I still think there's a double S tier in the game for the Nurse and the Spirit, but... you know what I'm saying? A lot of killers are weaker at the start of the game. That's not D tier. That's not D tier. You have to be fucking massively shit to be D tier.
Around his lack of powers and delay him a lot. And if he doesn't have a down, he doesn't really get to use the rest of his powers as much.
But that applies to everybody. What if Nemesis doesn't get it down? He's stuck in tier 1 the whole match. Why isn't he in D tier for that? If you take down the slowdown, Nemesis fucking sucks. And then what? He has half a power at the start of the game. If Oni only gets, like, one hit, he could potentially not have a power until there's 2 gens left. Then what? Like, you could say the same thing about everybody, but that's not a D-tier argument, bro. It's not.
Still, the thing that he has going for him is that with perks, you can delay survivors enough to make the gens not pop immediately, to make the first down happen, and to then pressure the gens no matter where you are with your teleport. So perks like Tinkerer, Rhythm Tremors, Papu's Wizard, Ruin, all are very strong and all work really, really well on him. But if you play him enough, you realize that for how good you need to play Freddy and for how predictable he is.
How predictable? He has one of the most unpredictable 1 versus 4 games of all. With that teleport. And you're bouncing around effectively with the teleport. Using the teleport. I don't think this man uses the teleport enough. I can already tell with the analysis. Baiting the teleport. Baiting it out. Getting survivors off the gen. Making them run right in your fucking face and hitting them. teleporting, faking a teleport here, maybe pressuring the gen, isolating the map, not using teleports to the wrong gens, not just teleporting to fucking teleport, but actually teleporting correctly, which is something Tinkerer can really help you do. Or fuck, basic game awareness. If you have basic game awareness, and like a barbecue chili perk that you're getting some hooks, but again, like, yeah, barbecue's not an early game perk, so Tinkerer might be a little better to help you shape the map, know what gens you can't lose. But like, again, this is all very, very basic Freddy stuff. And if you know how unpredictable he can be if you fucking have played a good one. So, like, what is this argument? Like, I'm not seeing half of what he's talking about here. And the only thing that I've noticed is that he's had to concede every point I've made. But I'm not conceding shit that he's made. For real. This is the common thing with all these content creators. They have to give me, and arguments that are in line with my positions, half my fucking points. Oh, he's great with this, but he sucks without this. Yeah, I'm not giving that to you because no one's going to tier him without that. No one's going to tier. I feel like Freddy was tiered with nothing and everyone else was tiered with shit. That's what this kind of seems to me.
Around this position in the tier list would get that and more value out of him. He doesn't have add-ons to slow down the game anymore. So
no one has add-ons to slow down the game. Who has an add-on that slows down the game? Besides maybe, Doctor skill checks are harder. Blight has an add-on that like makes the gem blow up when he's rushing. Like, who has an add-on to slow down the game? I know Bubba used to have one and Billy used to have one, but they got rid of those, didn't they? Who has an add-on for repair speed? I'm not saying there's not any. Maybe Pig's Last Will could count because it gives you an extra trap. But who has an add-on to slow down the game? Maybe Legion with the Broken? No, I don't consider that a slowdown add-on. I consider that an anti-healing add-on. Who has an add-on to slow down the game anymore? Really? They got rid of all those. That's not a knock against Freddy.
You bring Pop and struggle to get the first down, which you will sometimes. That's not going to be as strong. If you bring Ruin but it is gone, that will probably hurt quite a bit. Large maps are still a little bit painful. He can deal with them better than some of the other.
Like, I get when you do, like, trust me, I've done a tier list twice as long as this. I understand that when you do a tier list, you can, like, kind of repeat yourself, because a lot of the killers in the game have the same issues because baseline 115 have the same fucking problems. But, like, and, like, you can, like, all that is true for everybody. If you bring Pop and don't get the first down as Huntress, it's the same problem. As Pyramid, it's the same problem. If Ruin gets cleansed in 2 seconds, it's the same problem. Like, that's not an argument against Freddy. And again, if Freddy was in, like, B tier, that would be one thing, and I wouldn't even be making this fucking video. But Freddy's in D tier. You're telling me he's on the same level as fucking Trapper and Myers. That's what you're telling me. And I haven't heard one argument that has convinced me even halfway that that's where he is.
Killers, but they are still really, really hard to get things rolling. Ultimately, when it comes to pallets and snares, pallets are better noob stompers, but in many maps they don't work super well because all of the pallets that could be there are already there. So unless you've already broken 6 pallets, you cannot realistically place them anywhere because they're just this
is all what we know already.
Pallets that are not already occupied, and I'm sure you know which maps I'm talking about. So you don't have a really, really strong starting power with the pallets. As for the snares, they are definitely useful in chase, but much like Clown, which we'll get to, they just force survivors to be a little bit greedy and take strong windows and drop pallets early. And guess what? They can do that because many maps have an abundance of strong windows next to strong pallets, and they will not necessarily miss those pallets because they'll find others. Or by the time you get rid of the pallets, the gems will have popped.
Yeah, and we can talk about why that's a very not fair analysis to Clown. We can kind of go over that. But like, yeah, and like that's not D tier. Like that's still not D tier. That's not a D tier conversation. I see what he was trying to do, compare him to Clown to like, because most people think Clown is D tier. Number one, Clown is no longer D tier. I will continue to say that. He is no longer bottom 5. His rework was good enough to get him out of bottom 5. That's the first thing. So like comparing him to Clown is not D tier anymore. And second, Do you know how many other powers that screws over? Oh, wow, the pallets in the window chains kind of hurt Freddy. Yeah. They also hurt Bubba and Billy and Hag and Blight and Pinhead and Demogorgon, especially Deathslinger. Like, do you want me to keep going on and on about who the strong tile chains hurt? They hurt everybody because they're OP. They hurt 115. They hurt everybody, dude. And then, like, the characters that they hurt less, like, Huntress, they have other things that hurt them that are an added problem, like tile height. Like, sometimes you can have a tile that's going to be weak as shit, but it's high, so Huntress and Shitslinger can't get you. Or the tile has a weird curve in it, so Shred can't get you. Like different things hurt different characters, but all in all, the transitions are a super weak argument for a D tier character. This is D tier. You're talking about D tier. Like, do you understand why this is flawed? Like, extremely?
So even though this killer is definitely good at stomping noobs still and allowing you to make a lot of bad decisions without taking into account the state of the gens, you will struggle a lot more against the higher MR survivors that will use the clocks to wake up, that will use chase perks against you, that will use strong items against you. I feel like you're gonna feel that a lot more on Freddy, and he's nowhere near as powerful as he used to be.
Okay, so that's kind of the conclusion. Oh yeah, you can still stomp nudes with him, you can still stomp pieces of shit with him, but he's bad against high levels. Yes, everybody is, dude. Like, that's not D tier. This is still not a D tier conversation. Like, nothing about this is about the D tier. Let's go into the D tier really fast, okay? Let's do a comparison about characters that are undisputedly D tier. Okay, Myers. What does Myers have to do? Not only does he have no power in the early game, he has to earn his power early game. Trapper. What does he have to do early game? Earn his power. He has to go around and place fucking traps. No, excuse me, he doesn't have to do that. He has to go pick the damn things up and then place them, okay? Pig, what does she have to do? She has a mechanic built into her kit that lets you know that you're facing her, which is the boxes. That's bad right away for any stealth character. Her ambush is kind of shit. It doesn't really do much for you. An argument could be made for a little bit underrated, but all in all, no good survivors get hit by that fucking shit. And then you down somebody, and then what? You put a trap on them, and then they get off, and then she has the most inconsistent, unlearnable mechanic in the game, so so they could potentially run over and get the damn thing off in 20 seconds, and it didn't do shit for you. Okay? Those are 3 characters right now that are undisputedly D tier. Okay? Who not only have bad early games, but have no way to mix up their patrol because they're just walking around. Often way more predictable patterns. A Trapper. Myers has to get within 4 feet of you to do anything. Pig has no consistency in her gameplay, so she's not learnable. None of those things apply to Freddy. None of those things apply to Freddy. Freddy has 115 movement at the start of the match, which is better than Myers and Trapper right away, because Freddy can just walk around and start killing you, okay? And he hits the map more than the Pig does, because Pig is probably crouched if she's smart, or at least she's going 115, and then having a double perk slot telling her when to crouch with Monitor and Whispers. Whoever came up with that idea is stupid. You're wasting 2 perks for something you could just do with basic awareness. Okay? So you're starting to see my point here. These D tiers have massive fucking flaws. And for as much as you want to rip on Freddy for not being as good as he used to be, maybe a little bit overrated, the D tier is a very disrespectful placement, because it shows you're not even trying to even learn him. Same thing for Clown at this point. I think Clown is definitely out of D tier. Like, if you're looking at the character, you should be able to see that. With that teleport and that game synergy with the perks, no. Who plays without perks, dude? Like, why don't we just... Oh, if you take those away, he's kind of shit. Yeah, so is everyone else. So, lots of really insane bias and problems with this analysis. Is Freddy where he used to be? No, he's definitely not. Okay? Is he still have some of the best mix-up potential in the game with his teleport? Abso-fucking-lutely. And D tier is an insulting placement to anyone who knows anything about this game. Okay? Stop being a sheep to this guy, please. Like, just use your brains, dude. Like, how hard is it to sit down, look at an argument, and deconstruct it? And use your brains. Like, I know we like Otz doing all that for us, but if you do it for 2 seconds, you'd realize he does it wrong. And he doesn't know anything. He knows a little bit. Sure, everybody knows a little bit. But, like, that's just insane. For someone with his hours to come on and say that is just really insane cringe. Like, for Christ's sake, dude. Just learn the game. It's not hard. Don't let one guy do it for you. I swear this is an inside joke. It has to be. He's not this stupid, right? I'm getting the hell out of here, lads. GG's. Embarrassing placement. Think for yourself, people. It's much better than just listening to these guys be wrong all the time.